This is take number 4. Happy July 4th to everyone. It's 2023. It's been exactly 1 week and 1 day since the surgery. Um, the first 3 days was probably the roughest of them all. Part of the pain that I suffered on the first day was due to my own fear of oxycodone. It was given to me as a pain relief medicine, of which I felt I don't want to get addicted to it. I'm afraid of it. So I only took ibuprofen. When the nerve blocker started to wear off, I had no idea that it wasn't completely worn off. When I became conscious, my right hand did not work. I mean, I could look at my right hand, I could tell it to squeeze, but my hand didn't move. If I wanted to move my hand, I had to use my left hand to position it correctly. Around 8:30 that night, the nerve blocker started to wear off, and that I now had the ability to start to make a fist. And my pinky and the finger next to it tingled. And I thought, okay, it's wearing off like Novocaine wears off when you go to the dentist. At around 1 o'clock in the morning, I had finally fallen asleep. But that was very short lived because at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up in a lot of pain. And I felt, okay, I know what it was like when it was starting to wear off. Now it has totally worn off. The worst was still yet to come. I took the ibuprofen, did not take the oxycodone, and as each, I guess, 15 minutes went by, the pain got worse. Finally, at around 6 a.m., I cried uncle, and I took not the full dosage of the oxycodone. I was supposed to take two 5-gram pills. I only took one, still afraid of it, that I would become addicted. So I only took one. Big mistake. At that point, it was doing absolutely nothing for me. It wasn't until around 9 o'clock in the morning that I needed to take my next dose of ibuprofen, 800 milligrams. Normal dosage is 4. And by 10 o'clock, it was manageable. I did not skip any dosages of oxycodone until about 3 days later. But then I made another mistake. The mistake that I made was I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and they mentioned 3 medications given to them when they left the hospital: oxycodone, ibuprofen, and a stool softener. I did not get a stool softener. Uh, my wife asked the nurse there, would I need one? And she said, well, if he needs one, take some Dulcolax. I did not have an urge to go for 3 full days. And I felt that, yeah, I could take the stool softener, but I didn't want to have to deal with the paperwork that would come from it. And so I decided not to. That was a mistake, because when Mother Nature said it is time to come out, I, I felt like I was passing a 1 pound bologna at the back end. It hurt like the dickens, and I hadn't experienced that kind of pain in my rear since my very first digital. Um, anyway, so that was the second mistake that I made, and I think everyone should know about it. Then comes the limitations of what you can and cannot do. Um, my right arm, which is the arm that went through the surgery, enjoys itself, as uncomfortable as it might be in the sling. It's protected in the sling. And there are some physical therapy exercises that are told to be done several times a day. My elbow, I wouldn't say is locking, but when I allow it to extend downward towards the floor, it hurts. And I am doing this exercise called the pendulum. I'm sure if you're watching YouTube videos, you've seen what that is. And it's basically lean on your good arm on a table and let your operated arm hang towards the floor and put it in a clockwise motion, of which I have done. And you do it in a clockwise motion like 12 times one direction, 12 times in the other direction. And then there's the shoulder shrugs, which is easy enough to do. I mean, those are not a problem exercise. What I'm finding though is that my arm in the sling does not move in certain directions. I had a lot more movement prior to the operation than I do now. If you picture yourself laying on your back, and I can't do this with the camera, but if you're on your back, and this is my good arm, and it's pointed up towards the ceiling, you should be able to move the arm to your side 90 degrees. This would be 0, and all the way to your side is 90 degrees. My operated arm, it's at the 0 mark. I can't get it past the 5-degree mark. It's supposed to be done passively. It's supposed to be done by holding on to an umbrella with your operated arm and using your non-operated arm as the controller to move the arm past the 0 position. It hurts like the dickens. And the physical therapists that are on YouTube say you need to work past the pain. Right now, I'm not even trying to work past the pain, because when I make a mistake, and I've made some, I have tried to lift my arm up so that I can operate my computer on my desk. That's not a good idea. If you're going to use a mouse, put a piece of cardboard across your knees and move the mouse at knee level, and that'll work. Do not move, do not put your arm up on the desk. It is going to hurt you later on. Other than that, I have looked at my wounds from the operation. The Tegaderm was removed by myself and my wife about 4 days afterwards, maybe 5. I thought it would be quite painful to remove. It was not. Under the Tegaderm, I found some cotton gauze pads, and under the cotton gauze pad was a very thin layer of gauze, which was stained like a yellowish color, and I'm assuming that something like an iodine was put on top of the wounds. The gauze is just laying there. It's not glued on with any kind of adhesive, so that came off. And what was exposed afterwards was the stitches that was put into each one of my wounds. I was happy that I wasn't put back together again with CA glue or staples for speed. I was kind of happy to see the stitches, but I don't know how long it's going to be before they come out. My armpit also has some bandages on it. I had gotten specific instructions from the doctor not to remove them, and in 2 weeks' time, I will be coming into his office, I guess, for follow-up, and at that point in time, it'll be removed, possibly rebandaged again. So, happy July 4th. This is my 1 week follow-up, and I guess I'm in healing conditions. Oh, don't look at the statistics about tears and re-tears. I'm kind of happy I didn't see that until after the operation and after I had already made my decision for the operation. The I mean, you can Google it, and you probably will now that I said something. So let me tell you what the details are. Re-tears are common anywheres between 3 to 2 years afterwards. Um, the percentages for my age group, I'm going on 66, was rather high. Um, 41% fail with a re-tear. And of that 41%, what's really important to know is that 50% of the 40% happens inside of the first 3 months. So baby yourself during the first 3 months. Don't try anything. If they say you can't lift more than 5 pounds, don't even push it. Um, Last night, I went to go open up a 2 liter bottle of soda, and removing the cap caused me extreme achiness in the arm that just wouldn't go away. And there's nothing to removing the cap of a soda bottle, if that gives you any idea. So if you can put the soda bottle between your knees and use your good arm to open the cap, do it that way. Learn from my mistakes. Anyway, I still got 10 fingers on both hands. Try to lift this one. Today's July 4th, and I know I'll have 10 fingers after July 4th. Hoping the same for every one of you.